Hello! So since there wasn't much of a video today, I decided to film what living in Saigon has been like compared to Hanoi and also the US, because it actually is kind of different. Yeah. But basically here in Saigon, I'm staying with my family actually. So I'm staying with my grandma's sister. Yeah, so my great aunt, I don't know. Yeah, but I'm staying with my grandma's sister, and this room I'm in is my grandma's sister's son's room. So my I don't know, family trees are very difficult to know what to call people. Anyways. But I wrote some things down because I feel like it'll be hard for me to remember what to say, especially because I feel like since I've been in Vietnam for at least half a month now, it's been like a big culture difference for me. But yeah, so in Saigon, the city is much different than it is in the US. Basically, Saigon is separated into different wards, and I had to Google it because there were so many wards that I didn't really know like how many different ones there were. But I found out that there's 249 different wards in Saigon, which is so crazy because like the living spaces are very compact here. So everything is very dense. That's why during traffic hours, there's a lot of traffic. But compared to Hanoi, Hanoi only has 175 wards, I think. Yeah, Saigon / Ho Chi Minh. Most people here call it Saigon because it was called Saigon before 1975. But then afterwards, all official government documents now say Ho Chi Minh City. Also, speaking in half Viet, half English is kind of difficult, so if I'm not pronouncing like Saigon in the normal Viet accent, I just feel like it's kind of weird for me to just suddenly switch between a sentence. The differences between Hanoi and Saigon, I find the lifestyles different. The way that people dress in Hanoi is much different than here in Saigon. It's just because also the climates are different, like the environmental climates are different. Basically, in Hanoi, it's kind of more cold and more dry. And here, it is more humid and very warm and hot. But yeah, it's very hot and humid here. So here, it has a lot less of a modest clothing style than compared to Hanoi. It's just like something I've noticed. And also people here don't dress as, I don't want to say fancily, but they don't dress up as much on a day-to-day basis. But the clothing culture in Hanoi is definitely a lot more modest than it is in Saigon. So another thing that I have noticed is that the food is different from here. So basically in Hanoi, a lot of what I saw food-wise was more shops underneath houses. So basically a lot of how Vietnam is structured is that people live on the top floor, and then in the bottom floor they have their own little shop. In Hanoi, I saw a lot more of those. In Saigon, it's also the same, but there's also a lot more vendor style, where people will have like their own cart, kind of like street like stall, and then it is more outside based than it is inside. But that could also be due to like electricity costs and stuff, because if you do have an inside area, it would get really hot really fast, so you do have to turn on a lot of AC and fans. But yeah, that's just another thing that I have noticed that is pretty different. Also, because of the climate here and everything, I am getting eaten alive by mosquitoes. Yeah, the humidity and like the hotness just make mosquitoes like flock to me. But weirdly enough, it's only been on one arm, so I literally have like one, I don't know if you could see it. You can probably see it, right? Oh yeah, you can. One right there. I have this, oh my god, it looks so bad on camera. I just got one like here as well. There's this one, and then I got this one. It's only on this arm. I don't know why. And also my mom and my grandma are getting bitten. It's just me. My mom keeps saying that like my blood is just too juicy and it's too sweet and it's attracting all the mosquitoes to me, which is pretty funny. But oh, a tip that I have when eating outside, just in Vietnam in general, is that with Vietnam's like agriculture, you don't really know if your raw vegetables have pesticides or not, and also you don't know if they're completely clean or not. If you go outside to eat your vegetables, basically you have to ask them to either boil them first or just not eat them at all. But if you do want to eat your vegetables, this is like specific to like the spinaches and the salads here, I would recommend buying it, bringing it home, and then just rinsing it at home with water, just to be extra careful. Yeah, but basically my mom and grandma got some pretty bad stomach issues because of that for like 2 days. So yeah, that's something to be careful about when you do eat outside in Vietnam. Okay, so another thing is also nightlife in Vietnam. On Christmas, I found that it was really fun at night. There were a lot of like young people out in the streets, aka me. I'm pretty young, but I have no one to go out with, so I didn't go out that much. But I would find the nightlife in Hanoi, Saigon, and the US to be pretty similar. I feel like it's just like everywhere you go, maybe, like it's just young people going out with their friends, like trying to have a good time. And even in nightlife culture in Vietnam and the US, it's pretty similar. I've gone to like some bars that look really similar to the ones that I've seen in Saigon. So I don't know if that is also just like an Americanized version of it, or if it's just like that everywhere, because honestly, like I don't think there's much of a difference. Maybe some of it is like the music is in a different language, but even then I feel like the BPM of it all and like the energy of everything is still the same. So yeah, that was like something that I was really surprised by, because I feel like, I don't know, when going to a different country I just wouldn't expect like to find something that similar, because I found it to be like almost the exact same. Yeah, but even though nightlife culture is the same, I feel like lifestyles are different. But yeah, I feel like the living culture in Vietnam is very different than that of in the US. It's similar in Hanoi actually, but I think in Hanoi I just didn't go out as much, so I wasn't aware of it as much. But everything is just so accessible here. Like I can walk down the street right now and go to a nail salon, go to a billiards place, and also go get food like all within like 2 minutes of each other. And I feel like that's very rare to have in the US just because of how big the country is. That could also be just me living in California though, because I feel like living in California, it's kind of a drive for everywhere you want to go, especially the fun places or the places that have good food. But here I find that everything it's pretty walkable, and also everyone gets around on a moped, so it's like very easy for you to go from point A to point B, because it's harder for there to be dense traffic on a moped compared to like 5,000 cars lined up. Yeah, and it's been really cool because I feel like I really like walking because I like to see like the environment of it all, and I feel like it was like a fun experience, like seeing like how different it was. Yeah. Oh, when my aunt was taking me around on the moped, she asked this question, and I always knew this like subconsciously in my head, like this cultural difference, but I didn't realize how different it was until she straight up asked me about it. So basically, I'm 22 and I just graduated college, but I don't live with my parents now even after I've graduated college. So she was asking me about it, and it didn't fathom to me that that was like a big cultural difference. But after talking to her, she told me that in Vietnam, for the most part, everyone lives with their parents up until they possibly get married, and then even when they do get married, it's possible for the whole family, like the married family, to move in with one side of the family. So for example, I have my mom and my dad, right, and me. So I would live with them up until I get married, and then after I get married, I would go live with my husband's family, or my husband would come and live with my family. And I always knew that family was like a big tie in like just Asian culture, and especially Vietnamese culture, but I didn't realize that it was considered weird for me to not be living with my family. But yeah, so that was like an interesting thing that I realized. But also I think that also comes with the difference in cost of living, because while in the US, yes, I work 2 jobs and I have to pay my own rent, it is more of work for me. But I feel like in Vietnam it would be much harder for you to be able to afford your own living space, and also it's not financially convenient for you to just do that in general, because the cost of working here isn't really equated the same as it is in the US. People here in Vietnam work significantly more and get significantly paid less than those in the US. So that is also a factor of like cost of living in general. I don't know, the cost of living and like the cultures intertwining together. I always like subconsciously realized it, but like having it actually like be like said to me was kind of interesting. Yeah, so my aunt was saying like, oh, you don't live with your family anymore, and I was like, oh no, like I feel like most Americans in general, once they move out for college, they generally, sometimes they do move home, but for the most part I feel like a lot of people start to build their own lives separate from their family, and like their family is always there, but they start building kind of like a new life. And so she was so surprised, and it was so interesting that she was, but it makes sense because I think just culture-wise everywhere is really different from each other. So yeah. But yeah, I'm really enjoying Saigon. I think just in general, I think this environment suited me a lot better than Hanoi. It could just be because I didn't have anybody in Hanoi really, because everyone was working, and it makes a lot of sense. Here everyone's working too, but I do have family who can take me around and kind of show me the area a bit more. And yeah, so I've been really enjoying my trip to Vietnam so far, and I'm so excited to film some more. This was a really great experience for me to have just in general, because this is like, I haven't been to Vietnam since I was 2 years old, and at 2 years old, like I don't really know anything anymore. And yeah, so I'm just gonna end the video here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this vlog was kind of entertaining and also opened your eyes up to more of the cultural differences between US, Hanoi, and Saigon. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye!